question. Who's the best that you've shared a ring with?
Usyk.
Usyk?
Yeah.
Yeah. And you're the one that people think got closest?
Yeah, because I was not boxing, I was just
mauling him.
Fighting, yeah.
Yeah. That's the way to beat him, right?
Yeah. You can't box that guy. He's an animal.
But you've shared the ring with AJ Fury, sparring with AJ Fury, Usyk. You've been in with everyone, and you put him what? You didn't think about that too much. You was like pretty much Usyk done.
With who?
I know I'm saying as in the best that you've ever been in the ring with. You say like you didn't have, but there was not much fault there, and you shared a ring with a lot of the top fighters, all the top fighters.
I have shared a lot of ring with the top fighters, but
there was no doubt in Usyk.
Yeah, there's no doubt in Usyk.
Why? What was about him that made him the best?
Because he moves. Because the way he gets you going, his movement, is there, and it's something every time you have to adjust. Do you understand?
Yeah. But you showed a blueprint, didn't you? You showed people were unsure at that particular point because he'd just come into the heavyweight division. He'd fought Witherspoon, hadn't he?
Witherspoon, yeah.
And then he fought you, and you'd shown a way to fight Usyk, which Anthony Joshua didn't replicate. So it's interesting that you pick him. I want to move on. Fury Usyk 2. You don't expect Fury to be able to win back his belts. You expect potentially Usyk to stop him. But if I can't help but believe that Fury will find a way to overcome Usyk because I picked him for the first fight, and maybe it's just because I want to stay with what I started with, and my evidence in front of my eyes is I'm not paying enough attention to. But if you are picking Fury, like me, what does he have to do? What is he going to have to do to be able to win that fight second time around? Given the fact that he's now been beaten by this fella, and I think pretty comprehensively, what's going to be told to Fury? What is Fury going to tell himself? And what is he going to have to do to be able to beat?
Yet again, Simon Jordan, when it comes to boxing in general, but when it comes to the subject of Oleksandr Usyk and Tyson Fury, Simon Jordan he will say many things with regards their fight back in May. He will say many things regarding their fight coming up in December. But what's the one thing he will never do? He will never ever give Usyk any credit, in spite of the fact the guests he has on pick Oleksandr Usyk. Derek Chisora, who you'll heard from the clip I played at the start of this video, without really any hesitation, Oleksandr Usyk is the best he's fought. And Simon Jordan, I laughed because he kind of, as soon as he heard that, it was kind of like, okay, you pretty much ran him the closest, right, let's move on. Not a case of, we can see that because, he's a good fighter, he's a road warrior. I mean, you want to look at the skill set of Oleksandr Usyk, his punch selection, his output, his footwork, ring IQ, adaptability in the ring, everything. No, it's just, he's the best. Okay, well, you nearly beat him, but let's move on. And when you listen to Simon Jordan and Spencer Oliver, I don't mind as much. I know some people don't like him. Yeah, I tend to zone out when Spencer Oliver starts talking, to be honest with you, because you can tell this guy really doesn't get it. God bless him. But he's always been someone where it just seems like when the minute he has to talk, it's just like what he said. That does genuinely seem like how it is sometimes with Spencer Oliver. He also talks, Simon Jordan, about, and it's interesting to see now how his perception on the first fight has changed. Do you remember a couple of months ago? I think it was when they announced, it might have been during the Euros, but I think it was when they announced that it was when they announced, I think, the rematch was happening. And Simon Jordan was adamant it was a close fight, that it was a split decision, therefore that makes the fight between Fury and Usyk close, blah, 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 blah. Now he's saying it was actually Oleksandr Usyk win, of course. And once pushed to, explain why he's shock horror Simon Jordan picking Tyson Fury in the rematch, I mean, I'm mystified as to why he would be picking him. Why is he picking him? Well, I picked him first time, so there you go. Oh, that's brilliant. I'm sure that many people would have picked Michael Spinks first time over Mike Tyson, and if, of course, the rematch have happened, would they have picked him again? I don't think so. So Simon Jordan, it's a weird one because this is a guy who, whenever he talks boxing, whenever he talks about someone like Frank Warren or someone like that, Frank Warren could be saying absolute nonsense. And no, yes, very good. Yes. When Eddie Hearn points something out, and look, say what you want to say about Eddie Hearn, but sometimes he does say things that maybe do have some, legs to stand on. It's just, no, that can't be right. I always go back to the interview he had with Carl Froch, where Carl Froch was making outrageous claims about Anthony Joshua. And Simon Jordan, I suspect he probably knew that what Carl Froch was saying was complete BS, but is he playing a role? What is it? He clearly doesn't like Eddie Hearn. He's clearly very pro Warren. But what good is that? I mean, like, he's a radio host. It's not like he's someone who's trying to get press credentials. He doesn't need them. He's paid by talk. I've never seen any hosts certainly in the sports media end be so biased towards one fighter. And not only that, but give the guy who, it's not just that he's beaten Tyson Fury. You're talking about undisputed cruiserweight champion of the world, a guy who pretty much cleaned out his division with the exception of maybe Dorticos. But he cleared out the cruiserweight division when it was actually a very, very good division. It's not like today, where you look at the cruiserweight division and you can see Apataya is the main guy, and it's a big jump between kind of below Apataya to him. When Oleksandr Usyk was fighting in the cruiserweight division, you had guys like Refueses, you had guys like a prime Krzysztof Glowacki, you had guys like a prime Murat Gassiev. All right, these are the guys Oleksandr Usyk was going to there. Michael Hunter, unbeaten at the time. And that was a much younger Michael Hunter. You had guys like that in the cruiserweight division that Oleksandr Usyk was fighting in their backyards. Tony Bellew, never lost that title. Oleksandr Usyk wanted to make sure he left pretty much no stone unturned at cruiserweight. Comes up to heavyweight, fights Witherspoon, fights Chisora, straight into a Joshua fight, beats him twice, beats Daniel Dubois, and then beats Tyson Fury. And somehow still, after all that, when people like Derek Chisora are saying, he's the best I fought, it's just a kind of a... Really? Well, yeah. I mean, the guy is qualified. He's been in the ring with him. And he's been in the ring with guys like Vitaly Klitschko, Tyson Fury. He's been in there with the likes of, Carlos Taka might not be the best, but Joseph Parker, etc. And he's saying Usyk was the best. And it amazes me the way people like Simon Jordan, Spencer Oliver will say, well, you showed the blueprint of how to beat Oleksandr Usyk and this, that, and the other. And, well, he showed certainly how to make it tough for Oleksandr Usyk early on, but you forget the fact that it wasn't just the case of Derek Chisora starting out fast, and he did start out fast. Yes, he did fatigue a little bit, but Oleksandr Usyk was able to adjust. He was able to make adjustments. He was able to make that fight a lot easier. People make it out as though the Chisora fight was close. It wasn't really. It was quite a fairly run-of-the-mill win for Oleksandr Usyk. Rough start, but once he adjusted, it was good to go. And they say things like, why can't Tyson Fury do what you did? Why can't Anthony Joshua do it? Well, for one, Tyson Fury's not 6'1" and a short, compact pressure fighter. He isn't that. And I would recommend you go and have a listen. I know sometimes it can be a bit of an ordeal listening to one of those things with Simon Jordan, but listening to Chisora and some of the insight he's given and some of the things he says, it's very interesting. He has the opinion that it's basically John Fury. I might even do a separate video on this, but he has the opinion it's basically John Fury who is the head trainer of Team Fury now, because obviously they brought up the fact that there was a lot of voices in the corner in the Oleksandr Usyk fight, and apparently Tyson Fury isn't changing the team, which I think is a mistake as well, to be honest with you. But Chisora was saying that really, like, when Fury started with Sugar Hill, it was those two guys. Now, John Fury is back in, and Chisora, the words he kind of used was like, it's John Fury the majority of the camp, and then for the last 2 weeks it's Sugar Hill. Now, I don't know if it's quite as black and white as that, but if that is somewhat happened, then that's not good. Because you ideally want to have your main guy, the main voice in the corner, showing you through the camp. I understand that he's in America, geographically it's not ideal, but you don't want to spend the majority of your camp with one guy who's telling you one thing, then when the main guy comes in, he's telling you completely the other. Then on fight night, it's like, he's saying this, oh, here comes Andy Lee. Like, what? And the last bit I was listening to was where they were talking about this rematch with Tyson Fury. Oleksandr Usyk saying basically, or Derek Chisora saying, you can't really outbox Oleksandr Usyk, you have to pressure him. And it's weird that, like, Simon Jordan and Spencer Oliver, to an extent, they can't seem to fully get their heads wrapped around the fact that the Vladimir Klitschko fight was come November 9 years ago, nearly a decade ago. I know it's scary in a way that it's come around this quick. I mean, it feels like yesterday. I mean, I was only with my friend the other day. We were looking at pictures from 2015, and I mean, it's scary that that's nearly a decade ago, but it is. And what people forget is that over the course of that decade, you're going from your 20s into your mid-30s. If you live a clean life, a really clean life, you might have the same. You might have the exact same, but you might be able to maintain some of the spring in your step that you had at 27, a little bit. I love the way they talk about like Fury is just age. It's like, well, it's not just age, it's age and lifestyle. So, you know, Derek Chisora on with Simon Jordan today. I would recommend you give it a listen. I would. Chisora touches on some interesting points. He said that Oleksandr Usyk, in terms of training, he said he was over in Saudi Arabia for the Joshua rematch, and he was speaking with Alex Krasuk, and Simon Jordan just had a face on him, just like. But he was talking about him cycling in the heat and just always wanting to go that step extra in training, and you know, that's Oleksandr Usyk in a nutshell. That is what Simon Jordan and Derek Chisora, that's their conversation. Derek Chisora is saying that Oleksandr Usyk is the best he's faced. And Simon Jordan not too pleased. I'll leave it there. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. If you had a chance to have a look at it, if you had to watch it, let me know your thoughts. Let me know what you think. For now, people, I will leave it there. I hope you enjoyed the video. Smash the like button if you could, and subscribe. Of course, as always, if you haven't already. Peace.